Welcome back to the show. If you're just joining us now, we're just in the middle of our conversation with Darcy Eddleston. He is the school board chair for Buffalo Trails Public School. Now we're just talking about the Tullibee Lake school closure that happened this week. Very tough decision for you guys. Long bus rides for students now who will not have to go to Marwayne. Many of these parents are saying they're not going to send their kids to Marwayne. Why is that?
Well, in Alberta we have what they call school of choice. Parents can decide to send their students to any school that they want to. And so they have that option of sending their students to, I believe they're talking about sending their students to Lloydminster here. And they have that right.
Now, we were talking just before the break, too, about the ideal learning environment. And so, you know, attention spans, you know, if you're on the bus for an hour and a half before you get to school, if your attention span is dropping or not. But I guess you could also argue that having a class of, you know, 2 kids in it would not be an ideal learning environment as well. Is that correct? It
becomes a challenge to provide quality programming to students when classes get that small.
And I mean, did that factor into extracurriculars? And I mean, sports teams, like these kids weren't getting any of that, correct?
It becomes a challenge. You know, it's a very unique community, and they do what they can, you know, and they provide sports opportunities for their students as a whole school, not at individual grade levels. But it is a challenge at that peer interaction that you get with children your own age as you're developing. I think that was an important thing to take into consideration as well.
Now, I guess talk a little bit about funding for a school size that small. I mean, you guys get funding based on an enrollment basis, correct?
Correct.
So if they didn't have enough money to, you know, say go on field trips or something like that, would that also have factored into this decision?
Not necessarily for those extracurricular sort of activities, such as a field trip. There are unique funding situations within the province of Alberta that Tullibee Lake qualified for. There's something called small school by necessity money. When you're below a certain number of students in a certain distance from another school, there is extra money to help provide education to those students, and that has been very beneficial to a lot of the small schools in our jurisdiction.
Now, what happens to the staff at Tullibee Lake School?
There will be a position found for them somewhere in the division. You know, we get 25 to 30 retirements or other teachers moving on, and so the teaching staff there will fill some of those vacancies.
Now, the community members were saying by closing the school, you're essentially closing the hamlet of Tullibee Lake. What are you saying to that argument?
It's, you know, it is a challenge. There's no doubt about it, and it's a hard reality. However, from the fiscal realities that we face and the challenge of providing quality programming to students, we felt our hands were tied in this decision, and we wish the community all the best, and you know, we hope those students do take the advantage of going to Marwayne, and we will be providing transportation to them to make the trip to Marwayne, and we wish them all the best. Do
you think that schools really do make a community?
Yeah, they are important. They're the core of the community, and there's no doubt that losing that has hurt the community. But it's happened to other communities, and they you know, they reinvent themselves and move on. So.
If the demand did ever come back for Tullibee Lake, I mean, say, you know, some sort of boom happens there and enrollment would be up again, is there the possibility of it reopening?
Oh, I think definitely there would be. You know, there's other situations of other communities where something similar has happened, and those options are definitely investigated.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Darcy. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you.
This has been our conversation with Darcy Eddleston, Board Chairman for Buffalo Trails Public School Division.